getting discovered by Pia, being involved in Gawad Kalinga, another key important person that I told you about is a man, one of the foundations of this community, Apo. We call him Apo because everybody used to call him Mang Simeon before, Simeon Mamaril. To everyone before my time, he was just called Mang Simeon. When it was my time, I said, I can't call you just Mang Simeon because you are way older. In the Philippines, who is the highest elder in the tribal regions in the Philippines is an Apo. So I said, I'm just going to start calling you Apo Sim. And then that stuck. So everybody started calling him Apo Sim. I gave him that name. Okay. And he was such a mentor that he gave me a crash course on the Filipino community. He was very intent on getting me involved. So he would drag me into everything. He introduced me to fans, which was okay because I was really interested in history. That's one of my passions anyway. And so I became an officer of fans right off the bat. I was a vice president in 2009. So as vice president, I already discovered this book, Filipinos in Chicago. I saw it at Costco. So I called, old school, called the publishing company, Arcadia. And I asked them, I said, this is an interesting book. Is there any other, is there one for Oregon? And she goes, no. And she goes, there are several titles. So they named me the titles. They emailed me the information. And then they asked me, since there's none in Oregon, would you write one? And I said, no, I'm not a writer. I declined it immediately off the bat. And they said, no, we'll give you an editor who'll work with you every page, every step of the way. And besides, they talked me into it. It's easy, it's a template, there's guidelines, you can just choose, which model, A, B, C, D, da, 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 da. And then, so I looked at other books that are made by them, and I figured, oh yeah, you know what, it is kind of template. It had to be presented in a vintage way. So I said, oh, you know what, actually that's okay, I can do that because I'm gonna be an incoming president of the Historical Society. So I might do it with them, under my presidency, and that be a legacy project for me, which was not received well. And only because they didn't know who I was. I was coming in fresh. I was coming in green as far as they were concerned. Because I was literally getting comments like, sino ka ba? Who are you?
Who was they?
The elders of the community, the established foundation of this community, looked at me with a, sino ka ba? Who are you? We don't know who you are. Which was, again, okay, I got that because that's how elders are. Anyway, they really are. Because they didn't know who I was. I only started to earn my stripes again, one by one. Like, oh, you're that. I owned up to being the granddaughter of Epifanio de los Santos. So Epifanio de los Santos, my grandfather, for whom EDSA is named after. He was the foremost historian compared to Jose Rizal himself. The only reason why Rizalians are going to kill me for this, Rizal died. And again, I will say this bravely with facing consequences, I'm sure, that, the only reason why Aquino's a hero is because he was killed. Had he lived to live a politician's lifestyle, I would put my money on the fact that he wouldn't be that great. So there, I said it. But because he was martyred, it was a great door opening for the Marcos bouncing. I liken that precisely to my grandfather. Rizal was martyred, so he became a hero. Well, my grandfather's a hero too, but academically, he was a hero. So that was my claim to fame. But at the same time, and you saw it in the book, the foreword written by Apo Sim's wife she insisted that it had to be co-written. I couldn't own it myself. She wasn't going to allow for it. And I had no choice, so I said, okay.
Why would you have to say yes to their demands? Or why couldn't you just go and do the book on your own?
Because that's not the way it works here. That's not the way it works in the Filipino community. There is a hierarchy in this community. And unfortunately, that hierarchy is not always good. But in fairness, it's not uncommon either. Again, that's just something I fight against. I don't subscribe to. I refuse to accept. And that's why here, I've said before, I'm not exactly popular because I won't stay in my lane. Working with Ronnie ended up really awesome because I have to really give him credit for the fact that he was a past editor of the Asian Reporter and he was well rooted. I relied on him for a lot of the information because I was only able to provide my own research for whatever came later. The historical parts of it was there. My biggest contributor in photos was Apusim himself because Apusim also has been known here. His best or most famous service was always photographer because he was a journalist as well. So he was very good in archiving things. So he has a very deep resource of archives in his own possession that I tell everybody. So everybody who's listening, please help Apusim's family go through this. I've recommended it to fans that you guys need to go. His family will welcome you to be the ones to take all these and sort it out yourself because he definitely possesses the rich history in print of this community here. And I think while he's still alive and while he still has presence of mind, it might be the best opportune time to pick at it. I like to go into something, accomplish something, and walk away. There's only so many seats at a table, and if I don't vacate mine, a new person can't step in. Yeah, and that goes back to directly, full circle, connected to my absolute abhorrence to the statement, that's not how we do things. I'm on a current existing collaboration with the Vietnamese Cultural Alliance. They asked me, and I said, no, I really don't want to do anything anymore. He goes, yeah, but you have stories. And the director of that made me appreciate the value of, okay, you know that.
So sorry.
It's okay, you can edit that sound out.
We'll keep rolling.
Yeah.
And I'll just...
He said we'll keep rolling. I'm really in that mode of, okay, I want to step back. I really want to walk away, certain things. But somehow the universe, the Holy Spirit, is not letting me do that. It keeps giving me something that's right in front of me that I cannot not respond to. Because also my very core is service. I'm a service-oriented person. I cannot look away when I have an opportunity to serve. It's not my nature. The service in and of itself is my fulfillment. Because it's a purpose. It's like it's not wasted time. For example, clean house. That's a perfect example. I'll have a pile of laundry or whatever, and I need to do laundry. But if somebody called and says, ooh, we're short-handed on this and we need help, oh, forget the laundry. And not because I'm avoiding it, but because to me, if I did and attended to the laundry, who would that have benefited? Somebody needs me right now, right here, whatever, then I'm there. There is value, there is fulfillment in serving. You don't always have to be the leader, the star, the spotlighted person. There's merit to being behind the scenes. Going back to that too, is that's what the director of the VCA, really put to my face, because I didn't want to do it anymore. It goes, what we want from you is knowledge. You don't need to work. We'll do all the work. You don't need to coordinate. We'll do all that. We just need you to tell your story so we can learn from it. And I never thought of it that way. I was conscious of it because that's how I did the book to begin with. You know, you learn from people. But I never thought that I would be the source of learning. And yet, that's what I'm finding, that's what I'm doing. That's my current value, probably for the rest of my life. Oh no, she's definitely one of those that impact. And I will say her name. It was Judy Lamb. Her husband was Bob Lamb, who owned markets here, Lamb's Markets, Lamb's Thriftway. We got along real well from the moment we met. And her past life was an educator. But by the time we met, we were heavy into nonprofit. And it was mostly for Dornbecker. She was the one that invited me to be on this foundation, Toys for Kids, not Toys for Tots, but Toys for Kids Foundation. Was a program that we had with the federal penitentiary, where we provided vocational learning for the inmates, creating vintage, vintage style wooden toys. And part of their education. So I was the only female on that board. Judy had cancer, and she lived close by. And I offered, I said, hey, it's part of the Filipino-ness of me to be a caregiver. So she was my first personal caregiving experience. And because she was a dear friend. So I took care of her in her last year. And it was a joyful experience. But we couldn't talk religion, Here I was thinking, because I'm Catholic, it's like preparing you for that. She was definitely not that. She was a science teacher, mathematics and science teacher. So she was all about the statistic of becoming energy after her death. Yeah, I'm just going to be part of this entire energy. I said, well, that's good. That's positive energy. But she was also such an organized person that I helped her work on preparation for her death. By that meaning, it's like my skill set was program and event planning. So we did that. Everything was done. The only thing that was needed was the drop in of the date of death. But she had approval of everything that was going to be done. And interestingly, or even funny, was that she already had a video made and to present for her memorial service. But then somebody in our circle passed away before she did. I attended the memorial, and then when I went back to her, I told her about his memorial. Oh, he had a beautiful slideshow playing to You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban. Oh my God. She was so pissed that she actually re-recorded her video to remove You Raise Me Up from it. Somebody copied me in the first place, and I'm not going to follow that thing. So she was one of those lessons. And again, she is, I would say, the kindest individual I know, I've met in my life, who didn't have religion as the motivating factor for her kindness. She was the epitome of the proof for me that it doesn't have to be religion or spirituality. She was just genuinely, authentically kind and good. And I love that about her. I love that I experienced that with her, because then I became really more open and more tolerant to working with people and just seeing that. She taught me to be able to look for the core of people. It's a conscious, intentional thing. I may show that I don't like you, you're not my taste on the superficial level. I don't like the way you dress. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the people you hang around with. But in my heart, I will focus and accept that person because I know they have a good heart. They may not be able to manifest it in the manner that I would like to see. That's my thing. That's on me. I can change that. I can't change them. I'm not going to plan on changing them. But I can change the way I view them and work with them. So my name is Maria Dolores Soledad de los Santos Pangan-Specht. I am originally from the Philippines. I would say I am a true Makati Zen. Born, raised, schooled, worked in Makati until I moved out of the Philippines. And then I ended up in Tigard, chosen. I didn't end up, I chose to live in Tigard. But before that, I got there by way of Manhattan Beach, Seal Beach, El Sobrante, California, up the coast, Beaverton, and then Tigard, where I am committed, I am rooted, I am a valuable citizen of, and I'm very, very well vested in that community. And I'm still part of the Phil-Am community, whether I like it or not. Oh, yeah. And because of that, yeah, I represent, yes, I'm the Oregon president of NAFA, which is the National Federation of Filipino American Associations. I'm still affiliated with COFAC, which is the Coalition of Filipino American Chambers of Commerce, but more on the foundation side. So I'm on the board of the Filipino American Chambers of Commerce Foundation, FACFI. Yeah, there you go. I've done my service for local organizations. I hang out, show up at CFAA, which is the Council for Filipino American Associations, as a saling pusa. There you go. Okay, it's a Filipino term. Saling pusa means you're like the appendage, like you're always the plus one. You're not really recognized as a member. They won't recognize me as a member because I am not affiliated with any of the member organizations. I'm not in anybody's roster anymore. The value of serving still works for me, but I want to do that now in the bigger scale. That's why it's national or global for that matter. I represent the Oregon Filipinos in whatever opportunity I get here and abroad. Where's my clapper for end? Isn't there a reverse clapper for the end? Cut!